Hey guys, so I'm gonna do something entirely different. I know I focus a lot on PvE, but I'm going to start posting my Grand Arena battles because I have been focusing on it more intensively since August. So it's been about 8 months or so. And a few people have asked to see them because I'm not so PvP focused, that it would be a different angle. And also, apparently, I'm going to be in GA Center this season, so I kind of have to post them now. So you're going to see them for the next little while. So again, like I said, I'm not PvP focused. I'm still like learning a lot of the counters that people have known for a while, probably. But I'm definitely trying, and I think you'll see that. So you're going to see also that my roster isn't developed in a lot of areas. There are a lot of spots in teams that I need to work on. But it's definitely been a process that I'm going through. So that being said, please be kind. I'm trying to learn my best and genuinely try to get through Grand Arena as best as I can, especially since it changes. But I would love feedback if you have it. If you think that there's something that I overlooked or misplayed, I definitely want to know because, like I said, I'm still learning. And just be respectful in the comments. So we will get started. I'm going to show you my defenses. I am going to go through every single battle and my thought process. And then I guess you'll just see how the round ends each time. All right, guys, let's hop in. All right, guys, so this is my opponent, Kafka Omerta. He's in one of the Angic guilds that can never tell them apart. But he is a 9.2 million GP player. He's got all six Galactic Legends. I only have 5. I'm missing Lord Vader. And he's got Star Killer, so it was definitely felt like I was going to have to punch up a little bit because I'm only 7.9 GP for the million GP for those who don't know yet. Okay, so this is my defense. I did something a little bit different. I wasn't too sure what exactly I should do since we have to set 3 fleets on defense now. I took a little bit of a gamble and I decided that I was going to protect the fleet zone because it is worth more than the bottom back zone now. And I figured I would set more of my stronger teams up front in the top because of that. And hopefully that would kind of be a little bit of a saving grace for me. So I set 3 Galactic Legends up top. I've got Kenobi, Kylo, and Rey up there. I did set Darth Revan with Nest. And then I put a few of my stronger teams, and by a few, I mean really just Maul, down in front. I don't really know what I did with my back zone, to be completely honest with you, with my squads. I did intend to set Iden. I figured I would set a leftover Rebel team. It wasn't a big deal. I was planning to set Gas here. I had convinced myself that I had set Gas. I don't know what happened and why I didn't set Gas, and I didn't realize that I didn't set him until I was in the attack phase and saw him in my list of characters to choose from. So that was definitely on me, and I'm going to blame Conquest and Territory Battles and everything just frying my brain. But yeah, so that's basically my defense. We'll see how it holds, and we can go see my first battle. Okay, guys, so he had obviously attacked me already by the time I went in, full cleared. But this is his top zone defense, so he does have a Rey squad there. And obviously Mon Mothma, Bugs, and a Bounty Hunter team. And then in the bottom, you can see from the still that there's Lord Vader. He did set Zam as the lead, and he has her Omi, same with Iden, but he puts Dark Trooper with Iden, and I'm not too sure why. And it was a little bit concerning for what I was planning to do, and then obviously Night Sisters. So the first team that I was going to go against was Iden. I do have the Omi on Wampa, and he doesn't have a lot of potency on her, so I felt okay. But again, Dark Trooper being there really scared me. I wasn't sure if he was going to ruin my plan. So I was just double checking how fast he was. I wanted to double check his offense, and I didn't think that he had a ton of offense, to be honest with you, for Relic 7. And I figured I was just gonna try it anyway. I was insanely scared to do this. It's the first time I've ever used Wampa solo. It's the first time I've ever used Wampa with his Omicron. So this was nerve-wracking to say the least. And he's not modded perfectly, but he does have 130% tenacity on him, so I felt okay. Okay, so he obviously is countering right away, which was great, and I felt decent until Stormtrooper taunted. I was super happy to see that he was resisting, and the 130% tenacity felt like enough. And then, I basically just let him counter here and hope that I could chew through Stormtrooper. As soon as Dark Trooper punched me, I felt nervous. Like, digging into his health pool here really scared me. I was extremely nervous that they were just going to start, especially Dark Trooper was going to just start going into Wampa so much that I wouldn't be able to recover the health fast enough and the protection. But eventually I could feel like I was getting into a rhythm, even with Dark Trooper punching me so hard. But again, just chewing through Stormtrooper was probably the worst feeling. I don't know how much I liked this Omicron. It's a ton of fun, but it is really scary. So I figured once Stormtrooper was down, and goodbye Snowtrooper. I figured once Stormtrooper was down, I wanted to get rid of Dark Trooper right away just because of him hitting me so hard. I didn't enjoy him being there at all. So I did focus on him. And now that there was no one taunting me to stop me, it felt like I could get through him a little bit quicker. There he goes. And then after Dark Trooper being down, honestly, it felt really comfortable. Again, I don't know why he sets Dark Trooper here. It doesn't really work well since he's a droid with her Omicron. But if he's not using him, then I guess that's fine. Whatever he wants to do. And this honestly felt really satisfying to see that it was working. Her healing here is just a super pain. I honestly thought it was over. For Wampa not being modded super well, to be honest, I was pretty satisfied that he could do this by himself, and I got a 78. So I thought that was a pretty good start to this Grand Arena. So the next team I wanted to go after was Lord Vader, and I figured I might as well go after him right away because I do tend to trip up on him even using Jedi Master Luke. And I wanted to just try to get through him as early as possible because if I wasn't going to be able to, then there was no point in me fighting the other two teams, to be honest with you. And I was concerned about Thrawn, which is why I was checking his speed. So I like to use, like I said, Jedi Master Luke against Lord Vader. And it did cause me a little bit of trouble later on, which we can get into with my teams. But I like to take Jedi Master Luke, Shock, Cam. And then I chose to take Jolie. I usually take Hoda, but I wanted to save him because I was fairly certain I was going to see Kylo in the back. And I wanted to have Hoda for that. And then I like to take Watt. And then I take a deep breath every time before I fight a Lord Vader team. Even though there's no Maul, it's still a little bit scary just because of Thrawn. So yeah, my Luke is Relic 9. And I do like to just try and call Cam as much as possible with this team. So I was pretty happy to see the ability block stick on Thrawn and Vader, to be honest with you, because those are, Vader in particular, once he gets his Merciless Massacre, really destroys me. And if I could slow that from happening until I got Royal Guard down, I wanted to. So again, I just like to call Cam as much as I can and get to Luke's ultimate ability as quickly as possible. And I really just wanted to chew through Royal Guard quickly and save Shock's cleanse for now, at least. And then now that Royal Guard was down, I wanted to, when I could, when Lord Vader didn't have Mark, thanks to Piet, I wanted to try and get either Vader or Thrawn out of the way. And because Thrawn was still ability blocked, I chose to go after Vader just so that he wouldn't get to Merciless Massacre, hopefully. I really didn't want to have to deal with that. So I chose here to AoE again and try and get ability block on, which I did, thankfully. It didn't stick on Vader, Lord Vader, not Darth Vader. But that's fine. I really just wanted to avoid, like I said, Merciless Massacre. I wanted to avoid Fracture and try to get through this as painlessly as possible. It never feels that smooth to me, to be honest. So here I did choose to call Jolie just because everyone was dazed, and it's super annoying. I didn't want to cleanse yet. It still felt too early for me to cleanse everything. And with Cam, I really like having Cam here just because of the armor shred and then his double taps. And at least here I was able to cleanse Cam so I could start calling him again. And then I wanted to get Thrawn out of there as quickly as possible, just to make sure I didn't get fractured. So we got to his ultimate, which is great. I could at least start ignoring that marked. And there goes Watt, which always seems to happen, but... All right, so Thrawn is about to die, thankfully. And then I can get rid of Piet. So I do like to stack Armor Shred on Vader as often as I can with this. It just feels safer to me to try and get through him after, once I get all sides down. And Shocked is not looking that good. There she goes. The good thing, so like I said, I like to usually take Hoda here. I found that the good thing with Jolie is that I did have his revive if I needed it, especially since Shock didn't die during Vader's ultimate. So that was good. I chose to increase his cooldowns, and then again, every single time I'm just calling Cam, sorry, not Shock, just because of his double tap on basic. So once it got here, I started feeling a little bit more comfortable. I chose again to increase his cooldowns instead of using the ultimate ability. Or sorry, the leadership ability. Awesome. So I will take a 59 on Lord Vader every day. And now I started feeling more comfortable because Lord Vader was down. Okay, so Zam, I always take CLS here. It's just, and I'm sure that's what he was trying to do, and kudos to him. It's just too dodgy for me. I've never seen a Zam lead, though, so I wasn't too sure what to expect, and I figured I would just be safe here and take CLS anyway, just moving them around just so that I can call the assists. So I like to go for Zam right away, obviously, because once you kill her, her unique Omicron is no longer applicable. And I always switch stances with CLS when she doesn't die so that I can ignore the taunt. Obviously, it didn't matter there because I killed Bosk beforehand. And then I wanted to get rid of the Mandalorian before he could get his little annihilate, instant delete off on my team. And that felt decent. 64, I did use the heal too early, but that's okay. All right, so then we have the Night Sisters. So they are relicked and decently fast. So I chose to use my Imperial Troopers. I figured this was probably going to be overkill, but I wasn't too sure what else I could use that would counter them, that wouldn't pull from other teams that I wanted, and also was strong enough to take them since they're all relicked. So I chose to go with the overkill. But again, he probably was trying to weed this out, which is fine. And Troopers are honestly a pretty new team for me because I didn't have them built beforehand, and now that I do, I love them. I had them built, but they weren't built properly, and only a few of them were relicked, so it didn't work as well as I wanted it to. And 65. So, like I said, it was definitely overkill, but I thought it would be needed. So, now we can have a look and see what is in his back zone. So Sith Eternal Emperor is there, which is a surprise. I was expecting Kylo and then a Maul team and a Boba, Dad Bod Boba Scoundrel team, I guess. Like I said, was not expecting this, so I wasn't too sure what to do. So his Sith Eternal, I figured I was going to General Grievous and Nute it. It is kind of a little bit of a wonky counter for me, but I realized that his C is not super healthy. It's only 101,000 health. And I thought that would be weak enough that I would be able to take it. Especially with my Gear 12 B2, which a lot of people have poked fun at, but it's fine. All right, so I'm just trying to get the target lock out there as quickly as possible. I found that the best success for this, and I have only done this counter a handful of times, is just to go straight for C. I honestly don't know if that's the proper thing to do. Somebody correct me if it's not, please. But I found that that's what works. So I just try to get rid of him as quickly as possible, and thankfully, because he is only 101,000 health, it felt like it was going pretty quickly. And now that he's gone, I can just kind of focus on everyone else. Of course, the downside is that they're all going to heal every time someone dies, which is super annoying. But with C being gone, I felt a lot more comfortable. Especially considering my team is not the strongest. I also wasn't too sure, to be honest, if Watt was going to mess this up at all, and thankfully he just dies. But it feels like this was the right call. And I was definitely glad that I saved Grievous. I had been saving him along with BB-8 just in case he had set Starkiller on defense, which he obviously didn't, and he hadn't in the past, but I wasn't too sure what to expect. Especially with, it feels like this Grand Arena was a whole new thing with fleets being upped. So not the cleanest, but 60 banners was decent, I thought. All right, so now that that was done, I figured I would try and get through the top before I went back to finish the bottom. And I don't love to gas Rey, but I really wanted to save Sith Eternal, and then I also realized that I didn't have a babysitter for Sith Eternal anymore, so I didn't want to risk it. I wasn't too sure what to do in that case. So I figured gas would be a risky option, but maybe a little bit safer for me. I also haven't faced this exact Rey comp before with gas. usually it's JTR instead of Finn for the second tank, which I wasn't too sure if that was going to do something that would throw me off. So I was playing it really slowly because I'm not very good at this counter, to be honest with you. But I have done it a few times. There was 5s, of course. And it did work really smoothly the first few times I did it. And then the next few times I just kept losing. So I was trying to go as slowly as possible and try to be really careful, especially once she was going into her ultimates. I really didn't want to trigger too many counterattacks. I didn't want to trigger any AoEs. I was so scared. I just wanted her to get her ultimate off here while Gas was still standing, especially since they were chewing through his protection so quickly. All right. So he sits down again, and thankfully I've got the form up. And then here I was trying really hard not to get anyone too low because I didn't want to trigger her whirlwind, not while he was sitting at least. And then I just wanted to get Rey into damage immunity, but of course she whirlwinded. Awesome. So she did it to herself, which was great. And again, I was just trying to be super careful and not trigger another whirlwind. Still in damage immunity. And now that Finn is, I was just trying to get everyone else into damage immunity as well. There's another ultimate. Ready to go. So again, I was just trying to make sure she would take her ultimate before they ended up having Gas sit down again. I've never felt so scared doing this as I did for this exact match. It just felt so dicey. And obviously that was a misplay on my part. And now is when I really started to panic. I realized losing those two was going to be really painful for the rest of this. The only saving grace I felt like I really had was that they both had been in damage immunity already. And being able to take out Finn there honestly really helped. And the fact that Gas stood up again before she took her ultimate really helped as well. So this was insanely terrifying. I, at this point, was convinced that I was going to lose this battle. I just figured she was going to hit me way too hard and that I had completely misplayed this and was going to have to clean up. So I was really happy to see that I got 2 turns in a row. So 51, it's insanely messy, but it worked. That's all I really wanted, and I got to practice it. Okay, so the bugs. They are insanely relict again. I wasn't too sure what I could do here that wasn't going to take away from my other teams. So I chose to take my Triumvirate with a pre-taunt. So I took Sith Empire Trooper set. And I like to take Thrawn just so I can get a fracture off. I knew that this was going to be dicey just because they were all relict, but I figured it was really my only choice, just based off the teams that I wanted to use elsewhere. So I was able to get the fracture. I like doing that just so that I can go after the Brood right away, but then of course they just killed Nihilus. So that went really poorly. At that point, I knew I was not going to win, and it did not feel good, especially once they just killed Sion. it really felt like there was no coming out of this. Thankfully, I could at least kill one of the bugs. And that kind of felt like maybe it was a help, but this just went completely sideways for me. And I definitely need a better counter for Geos, or I just need to put more gear on my triumvirate, one or the other, or both. So obviously I need to take a cleanup in. I did not know what to use to clean this up, so I thought I should just mirror it with my Gear 12 Geos. I don't know why I thought this, to be honest with you, but I was hoping that it would work a little bit. And then, of course, they all just started healing immediately, which completely terrified me. And I really just needed Brood to hang on a little bit so I could get through this. And I really just wanted to kill that friggin' Brood Alpha. I've never wanted to kill Brood Alpha so much before, but once I could get the taunt off, I felt like I could finally start focusing on him, and it would go a little bit better now that he was dead. And then I could focus on the rest of the Geos and also not have to worry about the health equalization anymore. So I didn't love that I had to do this, that I had to clean this up, but considering they were fully relicked and my Geos were not, I thought it went okay. I think it only worked because I took out one of the Geos beforehand. I think if I had done this going into it, it might not have worked. But there's no way to know that, I guess. Okay, so Mon Mothma teams also super scare me. But I thought I could do my bounty hunters with my Zam. She's Omicron. And this is the first Grand Arena that I've had Fennec at relic levels, so I really didn't know if I should take her or if I should take Grief. I usually take Grief just so I could get the cleanse and the mass assist and all that kind of fun stuff. And I was super torn if I should take him for that reason or if I should take Fennec for the damage. Honestly, I had no idea what would be the better option here, but I did choose Fennec, and it felt like maybe it would go okay, and if it didn't go okay, it would at least be a learning opportunity. So them going straight for Zam was absolutely terrifying. I did not want them to kill her right away, obviously. I did not want to lose her Omicron ability. And then, of course, Kara taunting is insanely annoying just because I wanted to be able to get my contract payout as soon as possible. And it really felt like I couldn't. So again, this was the first time I had really gotten to use Fennec, especially at relic levels. I kind of played around with her a little bit when she was Gear 12, but not to this extent. And to be honest, I felt pretty happy that I took her. So I wanted to put some more thermals out there and taunt again because I was really paranoid about them going after Zam. And then I was just hoping that I could slowly make my way through this team. I was honestly hoping that Boba and Jango would be able to annihilate a bunch of them so that Mon Mothma couldn't bring them back. And I have to say that I don't regret the Zam Omicron because, so my bounty hunters aren't clocked speed-wise, to be honest with you. They just kind of have what they have on them, and I need to fix it. But I think it's well worth it, and I need to fix their modding. And then, of course, the one thing that I realized from this is I tend to get trigger happy with the abilities, and I probably should have just been spamming Fennec's basic instead of her special whenever it was available, which is usually what I end up doing. But other than that, it honestly felt like it went really smoothly. And I think Fennec might just be my new add for bounty hunters. She was a lot of fun. Okay, so then this Aurra team didn't really know what to do, but I figured since he hadn't set Kylo, I did not need to save my Jedi anymore. So I just chose to use Jedi Knight Revan and Jedi Knight Luke here, and I figured that would be the best case scenario, just to kind of get through this without digging into my other teams. I really wanted to leave people for Qui-Gon for the back wall. And it felt like this was okay, but I honestly wasn't sure if I needed to take Grandmaster Yoda or not, just for like the extra damage. And I truly don't know if this was a mistake, if taking Grandmaster Yoda here was a mistake, or if I should have taken a tank. Just because the other Jedi are obviously going to go with, my leftover Jedi are going to go with Qui-Gon. And I don't know if I should have left him another damage dealer. But this honestly felt like it went really, really cleanly. I can't really complain about it. I just wanted to get through it as quickly as possible, to be honest with you. And the fact that they were stunned and not taking turns, that was what I wanted. So it seems to work really well. So that's the front zone done. And then I figured I would go to the back zone before I went to ships. I just wanted to get it over with, to be honest with you, get all the squads done. And I chose Maul. I always use Qui-Gon on Maul. I've never failed with it. It's gotten sketchy, but it's never failed me. I usually have Cam with him, and I obviously don't here, and I don't know if that is going to hurt me. I've also never done this with a Maul that has armor, so I'm not too sure how this was going to go. But it definitely felt like I could not get through armor, especially with her taunt there. The reason why I like to take Qui-Gon against Maul is because they never really target Qui-Gon, so I always felt relatively safe with it, and I've always been able to just chew through whoever was taunting for him, and get through and kill them. And it just honestly felt like I could not chew through armor. And this is where I started to think that, like, maybe having Grandmaster Yoda here would have been a better option than Old Ben, especially since I didn't have Cam available. I think that might have been the better play. Because usually by a minute in, I've been able to kill someone. And this was when I realized, like, once Anakin didn't kill anyone, I knew it was going to be sideways. So this was really tough. This is the first time that Qui-Gon has failed me against Maul, so I think I definitely need a different Maul counter, and this is clearly why. He was weeding out my CLS, which is fine. So, defeat. First time Qui-Gon has failed me against him. And so, to take the bitter taste out of my mouth, I figured I would go for ships. So he has set Thrawn, Home 1, and Raddus, which means he took Executor on offense, and he was able to one-shot my ships. And the team here that I honestly was most concerned about was Home 1. I don't know why I wasn't really that concerned about his Thrawn team. I figured I would just take Malevolence against it. I assumed I would see the new TIE Interceptor ship, but I don't know why. I just wasn't super worried about it. I knew I didn't want to take Negotiator against it just in case I did, and I felt more comfortable saving Negotiator for one of the other fleets. So I figured this was going to be my best bet. All right, so I usually now play Malevolence the same way I play it as if I was countering an Executor. It almost just feels like it's muscle memory for me to play it that way. So I truly don't know if I should have opened with that second special, or sorry, the first special, second ability. But it felt like it was going fine, so I wasn't too concerned. And I was surprised to see Palpatine's ship. I definitely thought I was going to see TIE Interceptor come out first. I don't know if that's because he didn't set it, and I don't know if it's just the AI not bringing it out. But every time I've seen a Thrawn fleet with TIE Interceptor as a reinforcement, it's come out the first time. Or as the first reinforcement, I guess, not the first time. So I'm assuming he just didn't set it with this fleet, since I never saw it. And then I figured I would go for the Rebel fleet, and I was going to take my Negotiator. Rebel fleets sometimes scare me. So I chose just to take a full fleet here, which I know is kind of unheard of. But I wanted to be safe. I really didn't want to have to two-shot anything. I knew that I didn't have a lot of wiggle room banner-wise, especially after I wasn't able to get Qui-Gon to work on Maul. And I didn't realize, to be honest with you, until I was in the battle here, that there was no Millennium Falcon. So I feel like I could have been a lot more aggressive in my fleet lineup, especially once I realized that there was no Millennium Falcon there. I probably didn't need to be as concerned about it as I was. And then for Raddus, even with the new bomber there, I figured my Rebels would be the safest bet. They're not super built, to be honest with you. Shocker, I know. But it's one of the fleets that I am more comfortable with in terms of countering other fleets. And I really wanted to take Wedge, which I can never tell Wedge and Biggs apart Starfighter-wise. So, which is why I was just double checking. And again, I like to take the full fleet just to be extra safe, especially because my Rebel fleet isn't super strong. So I figured that I was going to try to get rid of the Resistance Bomber right away. I mean, it does taunt, so you don't really have much of an option, but I just didn't want it to hang around. I didn't want an opportunity for it to, finish its bomb run or whatever it was CG said it's going to do. And I figured I would just get rid of it as quickly as possible. So it's pretty straightforward. I was just trying to chew through as many ships as I could. I really didn't want to lose any ships because I knew that I was pinching banners at this point. I do miss playing Rebels as often as I used to, so I definitely need to put some more relics into them, especially with 3 fleets on defense. It'll be really great to keep them strong, I think. Okay, so fleet is done. And then I figured I had to go back to the bottom. So I honestly don't know what to use on that Maul team. I still have Sith Eternal Emperor, and I figured I would just get Boba down here and see what I could do, what I could come up with that would maybe make a dent in Maul after this. I also didn't want to use Sith Eternal Emperor to clean up Maul and get fewer banners, especially if I was going to be stuck. I just kind of wanted to clear as much as possible. And now that I have C's alt, this was the first time that I was going to be using it. And I just really wanted to practice with it. And I figured this would be a good opportunity. And I did just want to double check how healthy some of these guys were, because I wasn't too sure how bad this was going to possibly be. But I think this was the right team to take. Again, it's honestly my first time using C since I got his alt. Other than this, I only have used him in Conquest, where it doesn't really matter which Sith go with him as long as he just wins. So this was a big learning curve for me, and I chose to do it in Grand Arena, of course. Trying to get through IG-11 is just a nightmare, and I did not enjoy it at all. And I really wanted to be able to get Quill down. I really wanted to get rid of Mando before the birds popped off. I really wanted to get Fennec. I basically just wanted to get all of them down. And Mando, of course, is getting ready. And I knew at this point that he was probably going to get the whistling birds off. I wasn't going to be able to get to him in time, especially since Quill was so close to dying. So thankfully, they did not kill me, but it was not pleasant either way. And then I chose to get rid of Fennec, at least the first time. And I wanted to relink for the Retribution. And I think here I probably should have just killed Fennec, because that was annoying. And then it's just IG-11, and at this point it feels like it's way smoother. And it seemed to work. So not the best, 62, but I was able to get it down. So this is the final score. I hate not clearing that Maul team. I knew I had nothing left that was really going to make a dent in it. It was just leftovers of other teams and other factions. So I just chose to leave it as is, especially since it was preloaded. Looking back at it, I probably should have taken Grandmaster Yoda with my Qui-Gon team instead. And I even maybe should have tried Qui-Gon on the Dad Bod Boba team and Sith Eternal Emperor on Maul. I don't know if that would have been better, but I was fairly confident just because, like I said, I have never lost with Qui-Gon before. So I definitely need a new Maul counter because Qui-Gon's not the most reliable. I think that is the key thing moving forward. And then to fix my defense placement, just to make it a little bit harder to chew through. He did end up having to two-shot my Maul team, which was great. But I knew even if I had cleared Maul here with a two-shot, I still wasn't going to win with the math. So that was fine. And like I said, I just need a better Maul counter. So that's it. We're going into match 2, which will hopefully go over a little better than this one.